Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Countersin podcast. My name is Matt Lacey, and as ever, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Harry Sermon.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we?
Good afternoon, or whatever. You confused me now. And Jamie Joyner.
Hey, how are we, chaps? We good?
Very good,
Well,
mate.
man.
You? Well,
Yeah,
good.
doing well.
Good to be back on with you guys. It's been a little while since the last one. We had a couple of
Yeah.
things to shift about, but we are here again, and we are going to get stuck into episode 72. This is a growing and originals band. We're going to get. I think we're going to kind of get straight into it, guys. We had a little conflab before we started, and our somewhat regular topic of something new. We've realised we haven't really got anything new this week, so
It's a good thing. Take it as
it's
a
a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing. Yeah. The bank manager is very happy about the lack of new. Although, Harry, you have got a kind of newish thing, which I think is going to dovetail into our topic. So
Yeah.
why don't you give us some details on that, man?
Yeah. So today, if you're listening to this when this comes out, this is the 27th of February, is the release for Digsby's album, Death of the Party. Is finally out today, which is cool. I'm saying this in the future. But yeah, it's out. It's out. It's here.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I think I think it's good.
Yeah.
So we put out a few singles, and I know I've mentioned it a few times on the pod, and the whole thing is here. 2 years of work. I started recording the drums in January of 2024. And it started originally as just a handful of songs, going to be like a really sort of small EP or a couple of singles, 4 or 5 tracks, and it's blossomed into this 8-track full length kind of debut album. And yeah, it's been really, really cool. I'm sure we'll get into some of the bits and bobs, into some of the things we want to talk about tonight. But yeah, go check it out. I'll put a link in the box. I hope you enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice one. Congrats on that, man. And
Thank
it is
you.
a long
exciting.
slog to get things from start to finish, isn't it? And
How long's this been in the making?
2
Oh
years.
yeah. Plus 2+
years,
years, and I've literally spent like the last few days doing all like the boring things, like getting it all on our YouTube channel, because you obviously have your individual thing and stuff like that, and I've been doing all the videos for that, and then all the reels and all the banners and out now and this and that, and even like other things as well, like not to, I'm not going to sort of announce anything that's not solid in stone, but there's a few more things that are coming in a few months after the album and stuff. So yeah, just kind of literally spent the last few days just doing all of the boring admin, which I actually quite like artwork, back sleeves, all that sort of stuff. So it's been a real process. It's been
that
great.
thing, it's like a good band is 80% admin, 20% playing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's most gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. We got our album showing on the 27th in Bristol, Hen and Chicken in Bristol. But all of that's on our socials, so I won't bore you with it. But yeah. Very, very pleased that it's out there.
So, I mean, and that's why we're here to talk tonight, because we've all had experience or in the midst of original bands. So, growing an originals band. So, what was your first original bands, or how did they come about, guys? Quickly. So, Jamie, what was the step for you? Like, oh, this is an original band. As in, I'm not learning cover songs. How did that start for you?
My sort of history of originals band is quite sporadic. I've just sort of had, like, my first ever experience, I guess, was during uni, where you had to put together like your own EP, essentially, like write all your own material. It's quite a common thing, I think, for sort of music degree production or performance degree courses, where you've got to write and gather the musicians and record and rehearse and all of those sorts of things, and I had to like chart out all the parts, like I had to arrange all the guitar parts and things like that. It was all a lot. So that was, I think, in the third year of uni I started writing a few things. I was just writing them on piano, and then I was like, I got my brother to play the riffs on the guitar, and then they kind of grew. We wrote a little bit together, and then we got a couple of other people involved. I think we played like one show, again in sort of like a church hall type vibe, but with, you know, a nice little sort of local family friends sort of crowd, which was really nice. But that was the first time pretty much ever that I'd played in a, like, I wrote these songs and I'm performing them. And yeah, they were like, they're probably the only songs I've ever personally written as well. Like they were like, I think I wrote like 4 or something, and that they do exist like in the depths of a hard drive somewhere, which I refuse to even, you know, look for, because I just dread to kind of hear them again. But I think we did a couple of covers as well, as I think most originals bands kind of do when they're starting out and playing shows. You know, kind of bulk out the set a little bit with a couple of covers is usually the vibe. That was my first time. It didn't last particularly long. We didn't really kind of do any other shows or anything like that. But
what was the band called? Felt like we have to say.
It was called Vertigo Sky.
Nice, that's good.
I don't remember why or what it was about.
Probably best.
Yeah.
I was in a weird place, guys. I was in a weird place.
It's pretty good. As far as like first band names go, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Cool. But what it was as well, and I don't know if this is a topic we can come back to later, but part of that project was to record it all, and that was my first time actually going into like a professional level studio. I mean, we could use the facilities at uni, but like that was like an hour and a half trip into London, and I couldn't get everyone there. So like we just sort of, I had a sort of friend who had a connection with a studio locally, went down there and tracked all the parts and did everything there. And that was the first time pretty much that I like fell in love with being in the studio and just like obsessing over everything. And, you know, it was very different, and I approached it very different than I do now. But I just remember every day coming away absolutely buzzing and just being like, I want to do this like more. Like this was great. I don't think the end result was amazing. I don't think they like mixed it properly for us or anything like that. They just sort of like recorded it. But you know, it was cool. So yeah,
man.
That was my first experience. What about you, Harry?
I'm kind of similar. I did have like a band in school with like some of my my closest friends. That we only wrote like a couple of original songs. We could just kind of never get any of that stuff over the line, and it was all like kind of covers. But then like my first proper band was at BIM, and like we recorded a few songs which we've used quite a lot. That's that studio for Digsby. Jim Barr from the band Portishead. His studio is local in Bristol, so we kind of had access to that through BIM. So we recorded like quite a lot of early stuff there, and then we kind of did our own what became like our first EP. I can remember like making the artwork in like one of my BIM lessons, and just not like me and my friend just sat on our laptops, like obviously not doing work and not paying attention, just making the artwork and stuff. And that was a very similar thing for us, of just like, you know, you formed a band at uni and everyone just wrote an EP. Like every other week was like an EP launch. Everyone was doing it. It was great, you know. And you'd be there like, this band's EP sucked. Like, wow, that sounds way better. And then like you go to the other one and be like, oh damn, they're like really good. Like we should do that. Like they're doing that thing, we should do that. But it was great though, because like everyone was just packing out all these venues, because we'd all just go to each other's EP gigs. That's cool. Like we did ours, and it was like we literally sold out like a 100 capacity room. Like on one of our what would have been like our like 10th gig locally or whatever. So that was pretty cool. But that was a band called Lorelei. Which is pretty cool. I can't even describe the music. I remembered the other day that all the music's not on like streaming anymore. But I've got it on my laptop here. I might take a
That would be cool.
Spin down cringy lane and hear how bad everything is. But and that was also like my first time as well, like kind of programming some stuff and writing a little bit. There's like a couple of instrumentals on there that I kind of wrote that part to. But yeah, good times.
Yeah,
good times. Right. What about you, Matt?
Wow. I mean, those are both good band names. Good band name. I feel I'm going to let the side down with the band name. I feel this is not going to go well. So
It's fine.
I didn't
for
go
a
to.
first band, man.
I didn't go
Yeah.
to uni. I didn't go to uni, and I didn't have EP launches to go to every week. So mine was more of a traditional route in terms of, you know, I'm going to say it, like the Beatles and like the Rolling Stones and like anyone else.
Yeah.
Everyone started as a covers band and then
Yeah.
started writing their own stuff. So I was in a covers band called Pastiche.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
No, it's not nice at all. It was awful. Every time we said it, people go, "What does that mean?"
So
when you got to
the
explain
covers
band.
band was called Pastiche.
The covers band was called Pastiche,
Right.
and there's a guy in that band who is great. I mean, he's a multi-instrumentalist. He lives in Canada now. Hi, Wayne, if you're listening.
Big up, Wayne.
Big up, Wayne.
Hey.
He could play like piano, guitar, mandolin, and he was very kind of influenced by Bob Dylan and my mind's who did American Pie? Don McLean.
Oh yeah.
And kind of folk roots Americana type pop. And he started kind of writing a few songs. And our lyricist, or the singer in the band, he was very not influenced by those things. He was quite influenced by Bon Jovi, and he's very rock orientated and stuff like that, Pearl Jam and things like that. So he was writing lyrics that didn't really match the music that Wayne was writing because it was very kind of late 80s, early 90s, new wave British metal type, sort of vampires and swords and sorcery and stuff like that,
What a combo. That could have been it, though. That could have been it.
Could have been the golden ticket. But so whilst we never did, I don't even know actually whether I think we may have played a couple of them in a gig of Wayne's songs. But for me, it's in the context of this conversation, it's hardly an originals project, but it was the first time where I wasn't listening to a song to learn the drums. I was asking the guy who wrote the song, what do you want me to do here? Is it like this all the way through? When do you want me to come in? And I kind of, like you were saying, Jamie, about, I just love this. I'm buzzing for this. I realised at this point, this was not about playing a drum part or it being complex for the sake of being complex, or this was about working with someone else and serving their needs as a songwriter. So huge. That was the first time I really kind of was in that headspace in terms of, so is there any drums on it? No, Matt, I want you to come up with some drums. So that was a very early start into the originals project type world for me. And then I didn't really touch anything other than until maybe 2017 was like when I got asked to do, very briefly, actually be in a band, so in a video shoot. So I had to learn some songs for a video shoot for a couple of guys that had released their own music. And from that, we ended up being in the band, going into recording the second album. We started to put some things together. But they both realised that, actually, now we've got our little mission of where we want to go, but now we have to. That's been democratized with 3 other people. There's now 5 people with opinions, and it kind of that didn't get off the ground before it even started because they said, "Look, guys, we're going to go back to being a duo and stuff like that." And then Montgomery Slacks came along. So that's kind of my very brief history of original stuff. But so that's where we've all kind of started from. So those bands for you came out from uni. So that's kind of uni connections.
Pretty much.
So my Montgomery Slacks experience was basically I got a message because I was on. What was that? Is it Star Now? I've not got it anymore. Star Now. Yeah,
never heard of it.
It was like an connectivity platform for musicians looking for other musicians to work with, and I had a very, very simple, very straightforward, simple little profile on there. And I got a message from a guy who was kind of localish to me, and he'd got some songs together, and he was interested if I wanted to play drums
Yeah,
for
nice.
him in the pretext as a session player to start with. And that was Callum, and that was the start of kind of Montgomery Slacks.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
very random that he found me on there, contacted me, and then we
Yeah.
had I'll ask you guys in a minute, but that basically we had a quick rehearsal. We found a bass player. That bass player didn't work out. We started doing I think we tried another bassist, didn't work out. So originally we were a trio,
Yeah.
and then it all kind of went quiet over COVID, like everything did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, unbeknownst to me, he then found a Hammond organ player and a bassist, and that's when we all got in the room for the first time, probably 4 years ago, I'm guessing. So that was how I was connected and got pulled into that world with Callum. What was the instances been for you where it's kind of after uni, how you've got heard? So in that instance, and we'll probably talk about this topic specifically, but I went in as a session player, and then I had some very specific questions with Callum about what input, if any, do you want from me, and where do we stand with? Just want to be really clear: am I in the band or am I a session player?
You have to have that conversation, don't you? At some point, I think.
What does those experiences look like for you two, Jay? I mean,
I'm happy to share. I mean, as I sort of said earlier, like my experience has been very sporadic. So I had the uni project, and then I basically just did no originals band projects. Like where I was sort of on the edge of London, weirdly. I mean, I was very focused on teaching, but I just didn't really gig with any sort of originals or even cover bands for a very long period of time. And it was only when I sort of moved to sort of Newport in Wales where I started joining bands in general. And actually, it goes the same for the many function bands I sort of ended up sort of jumping in on. And the originals project that I got involved with, which was a project called Muriel, which I was involved with for a couple of years. That was both through Facebook. So all through Facebook groups.
Wow.
And I don't know, just you mentioning this sort of, was it an app or something you found your Montgomery Slacks on? Star Now, yeah. Not heard of that, but it's Facebook. I was thinking about this in the car the other day. It's the only reason that I keep Facebook is because of these groups that are in there. And I can pretty much track back almost every band I've played in to something on Facebook where it's just like the first ever function band I joined, Drum Depot reposted a thing where a band in Swansea were looking for a drummer. And all of a sudden I commented, messaged. I was in the band for like 4 years. And that's where I sort of cut my teeth doing all the sort of gigs and pub gigs and started all the kind of function world and stuff like that. Just from literally a post on Facebook or a little tag or something from a mate. They go, oh yeah, that's near Wales. Jamie lives near Wales. And then little tag. And, 9 times out of 10, sometimes when these things, you get tagged in this stuff, you're like, oh, I'm busy, or that's not near me, or it's not really my vibe or whatever. But sometimes it lands. I remember, with Muriel, it was just the lead singer just put something on Facebook sort of saying this sort of music, looking for a drummer, just to kind of bring life to my songs. We're going to have like a little jam in Cardiff if you're up for it. And sort of whatever was on the original post, I felt like it sort of suited what I liked and my playing style, and was like, no harm in going down. Met the guys. There was 5 of them. Or 4 of them, one of me, I think. The band sort of grew loads. It just turns out I kind of had mutual connections with a few of them. It grew from that. And that was just from someone just putting out on a drummers group, like, I need a drummer. So I don't know whether that's just more of a thing. I'd be interested to hear from our listeners, actually, whether that's been the same for them as well. But obviously, like previously, and like for the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and all these like huge bands, the internet never existed. So they all were mates playing together or just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And they formed these bands. And now I reckon that is happening far less. I'm like I mean, obviously I'm not in the Beatles yet, but like it's living proof that, you know, people are meeting just through online mediums like that. And
online
I think
ads, isn't it?
That's kind of where we're going with things.
Yeah.
So mine was all for just a comment on a Facebook post.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty mad. What about you?
Yeah,
Harry?
interesting. Yeah, the kind of very, very similar to Matt with the Digsby sort of situation, which I'll get to. But yeah, like the BIM band Lorelei was just kind of like, you know, you kind of meet people and, you know, like, let's jam together and if things work out, and then just slowly, it becomes like a band. And then that kind of like me and the bass player Jack left that because we just kind of, you know, teenage, you know, just you fall out over nothing, and it's silly band politics and whatnot. And then he got like friendly with another guy called Joe, and then that's how the Hush Mosey band kind of came along. I basically got asked to come along to a rehearsal, and that was it. Like I was just in the band, like we did it. We had a gig and this and that, and then we recorded an EP, and all of a sudden this is a thing. And that band happened very naturally. But again, that was still around the uni base. Everyone was going in and, you know, seeing each other and knew of this person plays with over there and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Digsby was, I got contacted by a rehearsal space that I was at. I would probably say nearly every weekend whilst I was at BIM for like 3 years. So they knew me quite well. And Joe, the singer of Digsby, got in touch and said, I'm looking to record some music. They just started to open their studio in the sort of back big room. I'm looking for a drummer. Like, have you got any recommendations? I've got like these songs I want to record as a band, and have you got it? So they got in touch with me. I met Joe. We had a couple of rehearsals. He tried to pay me for the rehearsals. I was like, no, it's okay. He just paid me for doing the EP at the time. And very similar to you, Matt, like it was very much, I'm just turning up and recording these songs and I can't wait to hear how they come out.
Yeah.
And then they came out like, this was like late 2018 maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it came out sort of late 2019 or early 2019. I can't really remember. And didn't really kind of hear much else. And I think there was talks of like, oh, I'm interested in like putting a band together. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like I really enjoyed, you know, the couple of songs I played on the EP, and that would be really cool. And then COVID happened and I didn't really hear anything. And then not long after COVID, he got in touch. He was like, oh, I've met a bass player. Do you want to get in a room? And then it was just us, like me, Joe and Ben. We just started playing together. The really funny thing about that EP is we've played one of the songs and we've never rehearsed or even tried to play any of the other songs. It was just very much of like, it was like the beginning and that was it. And we've never really gone back, which is quite funny. But then we started writing songs, and then that turned into the last EP. And then, like you said, band members have joined and kind of come and gone. And now it's kind of, where it's at. So yeah, very similar. Just like I got reached out to. Just happened to be there. Right place, right time. But yeah, like I wasn't really one for sort of like going to the jam nights and kind of going and networking as in that sort of such, because like, and I was at uni, and I feel like once you go to a music uni by third year, you kind of meet everyone that you're kind of gonna meet.
Yeah.
And then for that sort of period of your life, and then I just started to meet other musicians, like local musicians. And that's how I kind of got into the function game and stuff like that as well. Yeah. And then you realize everyone knows everyone, you know, and everyone probably went to BIM or this, that, and the other, and everyone's connected. So, but funny that we have quite a similar path there, Matt, actually, with the it's quite cool.
And so, I mean, I touched on my perspective on that. We were talking before we used to press record about how great it is to be a deck player. You know, being a deck player in a covers band, like, can you do this gig? I can't do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
You get the choice whether you want to be there or not. There's no kind of expectation that because you're in the band, you've got to be available. So in a similar vein, in terms of being a session player, and did you have a very specific conversation, Harry, in terms of turning up and recording? Because for me, I needed to have that conversation to kind of give me the green light to start suggesting things. Yeah. And very, very nice, you know, and I'm glad to say, happy to, a few things I've suggested have ended up on the records, you know, it's great. because I get a writer's credit, so that's great.
Well, that's another thing to talk about. Yeah, is that.
Thank you, Mr. PRS. I should just spending my 0.25 pence when it comes to the end of the year from streaming. But I'm very conscious that I can be in a room and I hear things in a way, and if I know I'm a session player, then I have to shut that bit off very consciously. Go, no, I'm not an MD. I haven't got artistic license to kind of. I'm like, how would you like this? And I actually do that very consciously, purposefully, as in, how would you like me to end it? Because it stops me going into, I think we should do, because that's a different conversation. But I mean, did you have pointed conversations about that with bands, or does it kind of like, it's developed as you've played with them, or have you had a kind of
for the Digsby thing? I mean, it was so long ago, but I remember very much Joe being like, I'm not a drummer, and I know what I like in drums, but I can't articulate it. So like, I'm kind of happy for you to just kind of do something, and I'll kind of tell you if I like it or not, or I think it's working. We can kind of like get to a place. And again, like my first sort of interaction, in what would become Digsby when it was just me and Joe, was very much just, I'm just hired here to play the drums. And I did get quite a lot of sort of creative freedom. There were a few things where he would, do the classic, I think there would be like a kind of Ringo fill here, or like maybe you could go to the ride here, or that, kind of very entry level stuff. But yeah, I kind of was quite lucky in the fact that, I just kind of did get hired, and I have been quite a lot of the time hired to kind of like do me a little bit within certain, like kind of working with people in around that. But yeah, all the originals stuff otherwise has kind of been like, I have been the drummer in the band. So that doesn't mean I get final say, of course, but like, it means that I do have that sort of freedom to like, what do I hear and what can I play? But then like playing with Ali Rice is a solo artist that I play with, who has some music coming out this year. That was kind of a little bit different because he is a drummer. That was one of his first instruments that he's another one of these. He plays everything, all these, best singers and songwriters seem to do everything, don't they? They can't be good at one thing. But yeah, so he's very good at sort of like, programming a pretty detailed, kind of full picture of what the drums could look like. And I'm always like stripping it back, like, you don't need a crash here, or you don't need this here, or it doesn't need to be, so we kind of have a good working relationship of like, he knows that he can present me with an idea, and I'll do my best to like filter it down to, what would make it the best kind of drum thing it would be, as much as I can. But yeah, even like that though, when we were recording some stuff last year, the guy that was engineering it kind of chimed in as well, and he's like, tell me no, because this is not my kind of business as such, but I think this would be really cool if you tried this. And we're like, yeah, let's give it a go. And actually that's what stuck. Nice. So yeah, I can't really remember your question, I apologize. But yeah, to answer your question, I think for the Digsby stuff, no, not really. It was just kind of naturally it was formed, because it then became the question of later. Yeah, that's it. It became the question of, do you want this to be a band? Like, I'm thinking of turning this into a band. Are you interested? So that's kind of where it came kind of from. But even now today, we still, like, when we're writing songs, we still have the conversation of like, Joe, if he's got a song, he'll kind of go, I was thinking maybe something like this. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Especially when I don't know the song, you can kind of beatbox a beat to me, and that's a starting point then.
Give you a vibe for what he's
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that, yeah.
I'll come to you in a minute, Joe, with that. What you talked about there, Harry, in terms of, I think you go to the ride here, excuse me, go to the ride there, or do that. I've always thought it's best to kind of, much better to be asked to do more than be told to do less.
Yeah.
So I've always
100%.
Like, go with this. Oh,
yeah.
Can you do a bit more? Yeah, not a problem. I'd much rather
when you get a like, I think, when you get like that was good. I think you could open up a bit more. You're like, okay,
yeah,
I've played this a bit safe. I can kind of lean in. That is always nice. I think. Yeah, that's always the way to be.
Jay, the conversations with you for like, am I a session player? Am I in the band? How did that?
I think that
happen for you.
I think that just listen to your guys' experience. Actually, like I'd say that with my limited work with originals bands, that I haven't yet been in a room where the lead member of the band doesn't know what they want from the drums, and I think that is something which, on reflection, I'm probably okay with, because I think my default is you give me the idea and I'll do something with it, and you tell me if you like it or not. This is what I'm hearing, and you say more or less, or yes or no, or that's literally like, I have zero offense taken. It's all about just, I'm trying to make the best part of make this song come alive however you envision it. I'm trying to dial into that as well, and that I think is my natural default. So I've not yet been in a situation where all I've got is I don't know, a guitar and vocals track, and they're just like, have at it. What do you want to play? Like, what's going to sound good? I haven't had a demo like that, and I haven't had just been in a room where it's like, let's jam and see what sounds good. I mean, maybe with random little sessions where you're just sort of messing around, but nothing on like a serious level of let's write something. So I think a lot of my experiences have been sort of, as you were saying earlier, Harry, that the lead member of the band plays a load of different things, knows I want it on the hi-hat and it needs to have maybe this kick pattern, or like I want the kick pattern to follow the bass, or the energy goes up here, so you've got to go to the ride. I was in a rehearsal with a band yesterday, like sort of a new project, and he got to a section of the song and was like, this wasn't on the demo, so like, sorry, but like, this is how it goes. It's like, you get to put in what do you think would sound good here, and again, like what you were saying earlier, Matt, like I didn't want to be like the sort of like band member that was like, well, actually I feel like it would be better if you did this, or like kind of on a musical sense. It was just, here's an option, yes or no. Okay, no. What about this one? Oh yeah, you like that one, cool, we're going with that one. And it was a very sort of like an A-B, very sort of like, I don't know, it still worked, and that was exactly, but I didn't feel like I was sort of writing the music or writing the parts, It just kind of felt like this is naturally where I'm going, and I just kind of cottoning on to the vibe that you want here. So I think that, sort of to answer your question, I guess it's my experience has been very, I'm presented with a sort of a rough version of a song that already has most of the drum parts sort of semi-written, and I'm doing either like adding more to it or stripping things away from it, and kind of just going back and forth with the writer, the band leader, as to what they like and what they don't like. So that's been my experience.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, nice.
It's interesting.
When you come to your original stuff, so I mean, I guess this could be a one-word answer if you wanted, but we could expand on it. Do you focus, or have you focused on playing live first, or recording first? What's the approach you guys have taken, or what do you think's worked, or what's the pros and cons for either, really? But
I've kind of done both, but not, I don't think consciously. So again, like for example, the first Digsby EP, which is called Started. Pretty good name for a first record. Imagine, the end. That could have been, maybe one day. That was just because we wanted to make a record, and I think Joe just wanted to record some music. He had these songs, and he wanted to record it, and then see what would happen, And then obviously, because of the situation of when it was made and so on, obviously that's why there was nothing that sort of kind of came of that. But then equally, when you're in a band like a uni band and so on, and you don't have necessarily the funds or the access to go straight into a studio, it's all about just trying to get out there and do a gig. And, you might even play like a 3-song set at an event, So with like a band like Hush Mosey and Lorelei, it was a case of we were just in the rehearsal space every week, writing songs and kind of turning what would eventually become the first release, into a live set with a cover or two, like with Lorelei. We used to do Lazarus by David Bowie, because that had just come out at the time, and we learnt that at BIM, so that was always a really good part of our set. And we did a song by Wolf Alice that had just come out, and it was kind of very much inspiring what we were then writing. But yeah, then we would kind of go and record. So yeah, I've kind of done both.
Right.
Yeah, it's really exciting when you're writing a song though, like, and you kind of play it, because I feel like maybe this is another point of topic or maybe another episode entirely, but writing a song and playing it live and then recording it is really good, because it feels like you kind of, adjust things, and even though they're very, very much,
it, don't you?
Yeah, they are
really
two different things.
Songs.
Yeah, but you can really kind of like, especially, you could play your drum part, for example, in the rehearsal room, and it could sound and feel great, and then you could play it live and be like, this doesn't work. Like, I need to adapt here, and then all of a sudden it, so yeah, there's kind of greatness.
I think sometimes as well, like, bands probably don't always have the choice or the luxury of going in and
there is
recording or of gigging. Like, you could be short on funds to go into a studio and get that done, get your music out on the streaming platforms, or you could be short on having good sort of support slots and good connections with venues and so on, or maybe you're in an area of the country where there's not that many music venues, and you've got to like travel to play any shows and stuff. And so I guess like it's highly dependent on what you've got available to you, and how much is written, how much of it is like ready to be recorded.
I think also as well, in this like day and age, like, it's so easy to record stuff on your laptop and on your phone and make good sounding music that you can finish it by the end of the week and have it on Spotify the following week, whereas it's quite hard to get 4 or 5 people into a room to write and record and rehearse 30 minutes to make it good enough to then go and play a gig. That is, that's a lot of time I don't know. It's really interesting.
On that point though, so I've kind of done the full circle thing with Montgomery Slacks, because when I met Callum, he already had stuff released.
Right.
Some stuff under him, Callum Bishop, and some stuff under Montgomery Slacks. And they were fully formed songs that he'd played a couple of the parts on, overdubbed 3 or 4 guitars, programmed drums, keyboards. It was all out there. So when I came to it, it's kind of, in a weird way, I started by learning songs that were released. So it was almost like I was in my own cover band. What I mean? And then it was about working out how we would play these live.
Yeah.
And if there's, I don't like that. That came out a year ago. I'm not sure about that bit now. So that was kind of adjusting recorded material to play live. And that's when we were starting to get our stage presence, our communication, what vibe, where are we all kind of heading as individuals, but, as a group going forward, how heavy do we want to be? How raw do we want to be compared to the originals, if you like? But then as we we worked through that material, Callum was then bringing new material to the band, which were what I would call a fully formed demo. Yeah. So programmed drums, got parts on it. This is this bit, this is that bit. And I said, can you send me these again, but with the drum track removed, and put a click on it? Because what I didn't want to be in a situation where,
like, influenced by
and
I'm learning someone else's song.
I've had exactly that this last weekend with some songs with Ali, and the fact that we're getting ready to record the drums, and he sent me, I wanted the drummed version and the drumless version, because I wanted to record the demo on the electric kit, but I need a kind of a reference of the idea you have. But it is really hard, like you were saying, Matt, it's hard to separate that. Like, I can't not just kind of go in and go, I'm going to go and do this because I think this would be cool, because there's already kind of something pre-mapped out as well. I guess also, especially if you had vocals on it, there's some pretty, hard markers you got to hit there,
Yeah. Well, case in point, because the demos were recorded with Callum singing, But then Sarah joined the band, and we became a 5-piece for a short time. Let's not go into the why we're a 4-piece now. Let's talk about original band politics. No,
That's a whole episode in itself.
No. And so, but now we had to change the key. She's singing a different register. And her style of singing is far more kind of like a Beth Hart bluesy, high gospel type. She can really go for it. So that's now changed the vibe. So again, how we play under that, or do we play up to it? It was kind of turned a corner again a little bit to get to that point. But pretty much we were that material because we wanted to fill a full 90-minute set of our own material. It was kind of, we worked all of those demos up to be live songs. And then actually, because we'd been playing them is in gigs and rehearsing them, when we came to record the EP, we recorded it in one live room.
Yeah.
So we recorded it in a single, I think maybe we did 4 takes. 4 takes max of 1 or 2 of the songs, but maybe it was 2 or 3 takes. We look at each other at the end. Yeah, we like that one. That was the take. And then we overdubbed. Fabio plays bass, but he also plays a mean saxophone. So there's one tune he plays sax in that. So we overdubbed that.
Great.
We overdubbed backing vocals and we overdubbed guitar solos, and that was it. But it all stemmed from, I said, well, look, guys, I'm a bit conscious, and I think this is where we as drummers get into our own heads about, am I on a click? Am I speeding up and slowing down? Where's the energy? But we all decided that we're going to play it how it feels right. And if it wavers because we're all responsible for the time. So that was kind of, and now we go out and gig them because we know them so well because we've drilled them for recording. Then it's it seemed like a full circle thing, really, going from learning recorded material to writing and playing live to going recording and then playing live. So
No, have you guys had to? Maybe this could be the sort of last point before we kind of wrap things up. But have you guys dealt with much in the sort of way of like credits and all that sort of stuff of songwriting and all that sort of stuff? And have you guys had to kind of dive into do that? I say that because it's kind of fresh off of my mind because I literally was just inputting like all the data over the last couple of weeks ahead of this album. But
cool.
Have you guys had to kind of do any of that?
I don't know how it works. I've not, I guess, not gotten to that stage with an originals project yet where the songs have been written and there's a significant part of it that I've brought to the table. I'm like, no, this was like my idea, or like this is like my thing. I've no idea how it works, like how bands even go about that sort of a discussion. Like sounds like a pretty potentially quite a tricky conversation to have with bands, to sort of like with bandmates is like, well, I wrote that, or you wrote that, or no, that was me, or anything like that. Or I know it can all get very sort of complicated, but
I mean, Callum, because of his Spotify presence already, he's set up with PRS, so he's got performing rights and all that kind of stuff. And Montgomery Slacks as an entity is set up for that as credit. For the most part, Callum is certainly for the original, the stuff that he already had done, he's down as writer and arranger.
Right.
When we've started moving lyrics about and tweaking things, because Sarah's come on and she wanted to change the phrasing, so the syllable count's been a bit different, or we've all sat in a room and kind of tweaked that, and I've put in suggestions. And then honestly, with that kind of stuff, to take away the awkwardness, I will kind of tongue in cheek, be very open and frank about that kind of stuff. So did I is that my word in there? Right, okay, just let me just ring my lawyer. So it's that kind of thing. And there's a thing I heard this many years ago. There's a thing called change a word, get a third in like copywriting. So if someone does a cover version of another song but changes one word, they're then entitled to a third of the writing credit.
Cool.
So Yeah. Now, the people know this better than us and are listening. We'd love to hear your perspective on it. That would be great.
Yeah.
But that's that kind of thing that I talked about. So we have mentioned it. I think what I would say is that whilst it never feels, oh, well, we'll think about that when things take off, or there'll be a point where we have to get some legal representation or a manager, that's when we talk about that. But so
Yeah.
going back to that first band that decided they want to go back to being a duo, when that it kind of fell on its arse before it kind of got off the ground. So they have started writing and performing, well, not performing, recording and releasing music on streaming platforms. And one of their songs got picked up by a YouTube channel to be played as part of, I'm not sure what the channel was, some kind of engineering. The guy was making stuff, I think, or whatever. And he used their song. So they got a credit for that, and they got royalties for it.
Yeah,
And,
nice.
and then another part of their song, one of their other songs, got sampled by a DJ, and he invited them to a, and we're not talking like, we're talking about a DJ playing their set in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
With their sample. So, albeit they never gigged, they release these records, these sounds, and it's all recorded, programmed stuff with lyrics that they sing live. Because of this day and age of everything's accessible, you never know who's going to listen to something you've done and gone,
100%.
oh, we could use that for our TV show, or we could use that for our YouTube channel that's got 5 million subscribers. So while it feels like a very serious kind of adult conversation to have about, we don't need to worry about that until we're really well known. I mean, so Montgomery Slacks, we've had stuff played on the radio. So there is, albeit BBC introducing, so you don't get full kind of PRS rights as such, but or publishing rights payment for it. But it's never really too early to have those conversations, because it just takes one.
Well, you need to make sure it's all quite catalogued. There's no point waiting to do it, because otherwise everything that you've done you won't be credited for. Like you could go your whole life playing in bands and nothing gets picked up properly. You know, you don't get but then you spent your whole life not getting credit for. Like also with all the DSPs and stuff, they've all got credits and it all appears on Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and stuff like that. So everything you input will be listed now.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, if you've got your PRS set up and stuff like that, you can kind of find your way through it. But like for me, like in like other bands, it was like, I'd be credited as a performer, and then like like all the music by the band and the lyrics by the singer. Like that's generally how how it goes, and that's kind of no different really with Digsby. There's a couple songs on this album that I had my friend Lewis mix it and kind of like produce it as well. And me and Joe are listed as co-producers because we put a lot into the sort of production of it. And then there's 2 songs that I mixed, produced, engineered, did all that myself. So I'm listed for that. And then the opening song, I wrote all the lyrics for, and I wrote the whole song. So I was credited for that as well. So, but then like Joe would just be credited for like playing guitar and singing and so on. So, but then like there's another song where it's like I'm not credited at all because I didn't play on it. I just did the production side of it. So like you got to make sure, especially now it's easy on like DistroKid and all these different
that's
things.
What we use, DistroKid. Yeah,
you can put it all on there, and there's no reason why you shouldn't really.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Montgomery Slacks with so our latest EP, which comes out soon, produced by Montgomery Slack. So as a collective, we've all done the production. I don't know whether it's listed specifically. I really need to check with Callum, but I was probably more. There was a bit of writing, a little bit. Not. I don't think it's going to credit, but I tend to find myself more doing arranging. Rather than produce. So there'll be arrangements where I might end up getting a credit for writing because of my arrangements. But
it's all worth doing. It is worth doing.
Yeah,
it's important as well. Especially like, obviously if you're recording on stuff, you get listed down as a recorder. Like with the stuff with Ali, I've just been listed as a performer, which that is all I've done. I've given opinions on mixes and so on, but I haven't produced it. I've not suggested that. But yeah, like anything like that, where you've contributed to a bridge, maybe you decided, oh, we should do this, and it's a production thing, or whatever it is, like get yourself credited for it, because why not?
Yeah, definitely.
String to the bow.
And if we've got any kind of, if you're listening to this and people who are into music publishing or production or that kind of side of stuff, we'd love to get them on for a chat and talk about it, or they can message us and give us their perspective on where we all sit with that. Guys, I think we could tie things up there, I think, Larry, because it was probably, I think there's another episode to be had here, because we
a lot of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, we want to get into the stuff like promoting. How do we promote original material? What should you expect when you're gigging as an original artist? And we've definitely got legs to broaden the conversation over another episode. Whether that's the next episode or in a few weeks' time, I don't know. But
for sure,
yeah, I hope everyone's found this kind of dig into, and maybe again, if you're in originals projects out there, we'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, send us them.
Yeah. Tag them, spread the word, use this as a platform to kind of get us out there to a wider audience. We have listeners I'm going to bravely say we've got listeners on every continent in the world now.
Very well could do.
Antarctica? Yeah. Have we got listeners in Antarctica?
All right, don't be, the ones where people live a lot.
Okay. The ones with a lot of people.
Yeah,
the busy ones.
I'm pretty sure the penguins they
love it. Loving the polar bears are loving the Digsby stuff, I'm sure. We'd love to hear from it. And if you want to share this episode with another musician, or as I say, with someone who's into music production or the legal side of publishing, that would be cool. Yeah. We'll put a reel out about this episode, and please tag your band in the comments, and we can check it out and we'll share links, and it'd be great to get some feedback on how other people have approached the kind of topics we've talked about. What was your first experience of playing in originals band? How did that come about? Were you a session guy, whether that be drums or guitar or keyboards, and then you ended up being in the band? Let us know. You can get hold of us on Instagram at Count Us In Podcast. That'd be great. If you found this valuable, we'd love you to send us a coffee, or the value of a coffee, a cheap coffee as well, by now today's standards, to buymeacoffee.com/Count Us In Podcast. And look out for this episode coming out in early March on YouTube, where you'll be able to see our faces as well as listen to us talk and ramble on for so long. But
who wouldn't want to do that?
Who wouldn't want to do that?
What a great time.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for that.
It's great.
Nice one.
A real kind of fast-paced conversation. I hope everyone could keep up, but there's kind of a lot to get into there. But until the next time, gents, take care. And thanks everyone for listening. See you again soon.
Absolutely. See you on the next one.
Thank you very much.
Bye.